Some members of the opposition party also defected to the APC. The APC presidential flag bearer is optimistic that the huge crowd of supporters will use their PVCs to vote for him and all APC candidates at the polls. Ola Awakon, TVC News, Gombe.
Okay then, so very lively event. And now to our main program, and we want to look at the subject matter of pre-election litigations and the future of democracy. Our guest is a senior at Babatunde lawyer. It's great to have you.
Thank you very much for making time. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm indeed very happy to be with you.
Indeed, so am I. Now, that other part, legal advisor of the party, or is that a prior position?
Yes, it was.
Oh, okay.
I was the legal advisor of the All Progressive Congress.
That's right. But
I left office about 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. It's a democratic thing too within the party.
Oh yes.
You change it, you switch it up from time to time.
Yes, I was elected, and somebody else has been elected into the office.
There you go. Got that. Now, are you part of the presidential campaign council?
Oh, yes.
I imagine all top notches of the party.
I am in the legal directorate. I'm the deputy director, legal for the presidential campaign council.
Great to have you today. So, as I was saying, it's an important matter, pre-election elections on the one hand, and the future of democracy. Now, erudite lawyer that you are, I'm sure it's a no-brainer for you, but could you just explain for the rest of us, you lawyers like to refer to us as unlearned, and yet we are the real guys. All of your learnedness is for our benefit, for the proper and successful running of society.
Yes.
Yes, you'll agree with me. So, pre-election litigations, talk to me about that. What is that exactly?
Well, pre-election litigation are exactly what you have called it, pre-elections. This means the classes of litigation that could come before the elections. And the Federal Republic of Nigeria has made provisions and created these classes of litigation. And how has it done so? In Section 29, subsection 5, it has, of the Electoral Act, it has clearly provided that persons who participate in the process of seeking party nominations in the primaries, who are not satisfied or have concerns about and have grounds to believe that information given by candidates are not correct, or that the primaries have not been conducted in compliance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Electoral Act, the party's constitution, or the guidelines, have the right to go to court to challenge that. It's in the Constitution. And the Constitution to also give the police. Now, there are two classes. Who has participated in the primaries. The second is the political parties who believe that there is any action of INEC that is not in compliance with the provisions of the law can also challenge that. So simply put, unlike in the past, where pre-election litigation, any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come to court and say, Buhari did not say the truth in his form and whatever. Now it has restricted the class of persons who could constitute litigants in pre-election matters. That is to say, an aspirant who participated in the primaries, mark the words, who participated, of course, and can bring such action. A political party, that is to say, a political party can challenge the action of INEC that he believes is not in compliance with the provisions of the Electoral Act or the Constitution. Though some political parties have come to abuse this, to imagine that they can just go into issues of qualification of a candidate in one party. I've handled quite a few of the cases like that. In fact, there was one, Action Alliance brought 4 of third cases against APC and its presidential candidate. All were dismissed. The last was dismissed in the Court of Appeal only on Friday. A party called APM has also done the same. And even PDP. PDP has brought about 3 actions against Asiwaju Tinubu and APC, challenging sundry issues that are in affairs. And the court has told them repeatedly that they have no locus and their suits have been dismissed by PDP, which is supposed to be our opponent. And the last of it, which, and I participated in all of these matters.
Okay.
There are about 15, 16 of them. All have been dismissed. The last of one, which PDP instituted against the governor of Lagos State and 42 members of the houses of the Lagos State Assembly, asking the Federal High Court to disqualify all of them, was also dismissed on Thursday last week, Wednesday or Thursday. I was also present in the court, and I represented the 42 members of the Lagos State House of Assembly in that matter, and it was also dismissed. So the Constitution makes provision for 2 classes of persons, political parties, to challenge the actions of INEC, which, of course, I am saying now has also been seriously abused by PDP and some other parties. Action Alliance filed 4 against Asiwaju Tinubu, all dismissed. APM filed, some CSOs filed, and even some individuals, and some aspirants too. Emeka Juba, for instance, filed 2, which were all dismissed. So the point I'm making here is
that really explains it to us.
Yeah, so it is something that is clearly provided for by law for pre-election litigation.
And this is, it's an improvement on the past.
Oh, certainly. In the past, it did not restrict the number of the class of people. So Yori Folari could wake up tomorrow and challenge the nomination of anybody. But now it has merits of a political party before you can challenge merits of qualification of candidates.
Excellent.
And for in the case of a political party, you can challenge the administrative action of INEC. What INEC ought to have done, have left undone, or what he has done and is not in compliance. So it is all of the totality of this that they now masterfully play around and file this action and say INEC published the name of somebody and then they challenge. And the court have told them repeatedly, you have no locus, get out. Like I said, PDP has filed about 4 of such matters that have been dismissed.
Well, it's surprising when you say so.
Action Alliance filed about another 4.
But they have lawyers dismissed on that side too that will know the law as well as you, senior advocates all
that
over
is that. That's why their cases keep, when people are desperate,
okay, then
the more they come, the harder they fall.
How would you then explain something else in recent memory, in recent time? I'm talking about the Senate President, how he has come back to be the candidate of APC. And there's been some outrage over that. Say, hang on, this man didn't even participate in the primaries.
Yes.
And there are those, there's just an outrage. What is it that people need to understand about how the courts
I can understand the angst of those who have expressed outrage. But the law is the law. In the plethora of authorities, the courts do not even interfere in the internal affairs of a political party. Okay. The court has said it is internal. In Machina and Senate President matter, the appellant in that case to the Supreme Court is the party.
APC.
Not Ahmed.
He went to court for the Senate President.
Machina had gone to court. And the Federal Court and the Court of Appeal had ruled in his favor. And at the Supreme Court, the issue of jurisdiction came up. And what is jurisdiction? The Judicial consists of competency of the suit, mode of commencement of the suit. These are elements, whether you are in the right court, whether there is a cause of action, and the issue came up. Now look, excuse me, this matter was commenced, in the matter you have made allegations that could be contentious, and one of which was criminal allegations of forgery.
Okay.
What is the proof? Beyond reasonable doubt. And when proof is beyond reasonable doubt, can it be resolved without calling oral evidence? I think not. It cannot be resolved by affidavit evidence. But he had commenced that suit by originating summons. Originating summons is one that deals only with affidavit evidence.
Okay.
So somebody has said you forged, and you said I didn't forge. What do you believe? The only way to resolve that is to call oral evidence. And you have commenced this suit through a wrong process. That robs the court of jurisdiction. And that was where the Supreme Court, anchored its judgment on. They didn't even go to the merits of the case. That with the court in the federal court had no jurisdiction, even had no business. Yes, the argument is there that in the past, or under normal circumstances, the court ought to revert the matter back for pleadings to be filed, as to originated by writ of summons, and be tried on its merit. But those who make this argument, including, fortunately, do not know the electoral law. And I say that with all respect. The electoral law, the electoral litigation, is a special class of litigation that we call sui generis. It's special with very strict rules. It is technical. Because they keep saying the Supreme Court didn't deal with technicality. The electoral litigation itself is about technicality. For instance, it says your cause of action must be commenced within 14 days. It leaves no room for extension. And even the 14 days is strictly defined. It says, for instance, you must file your response to an originating process within 10 days. You cannot extend. It says if you have a reply, you must file within 5 days. You cannot extend your defense. And reply is 2 days. So that's why it's sui generis. And the Constitution also says that for trial, it must be concluded within 180 days. On the 181 day, if that matter is still alive, it is dead. Then for the appeal, it says it must be concluded within the 60 days. The word shall is used within 60 days. So if the Supreme Court does not read its judgment within that 60 days, on the 61st days, it is dead. So,
as you said,
sui generis.
That is technical.
It's
the
technical
aspects of it.
And look, only yesterday I was in the Court of Appeal, and somebody filed a response on the third day. I just simply addressed the court that he has no defense.
With the technical aspects of law,
you cannot apply for extension of time.
So, because it's technical.
It's time bad.
It's time bad.
Everything is time bad. So if you have 60 days to conclude, so the rules are clear, the rules have been made. So in this case now, this matter commenced in May. May to when it got to the Supreme Court, because Court of Appeal had exhausted the 60 days. Supreme Court, I think, delivered its judgment on the 54th day. 180 days of the trial court was gone. If the Supreme Court was going to say, okay, we agree, revert back to trial, does the federal court still have jurisdiction? No. 180 days is gone, and that is constitutionally provided.
Wow.
It leaves no room for extension.
Wow.
So the Supreme Court simply said, the High Court, and the Supreme Court was not declaring anybody as the winner.
Well, but it did.
It only said,
pronounce that.
It only said, going back to the substantive issue, the substantive issue of Machina was that I was the one that went through the primaries. And the party is saying, no. The primaries you went through, and it was stated there in his affidavit, was conducted by the State Executive Committee. While in the plethora of authorities, it has also been said that it's only the national body of the party that can organize primaries. So the national body say, we did not organize that primaries that you claim to have emerged from.
Okay, I hear that.
Yes, but
therefore, the Senate President didn't participate in any primaries whatsoever.
That is not true.
Okay.
The party is saying, we now organize our own primaries, and this man emerged.
Oh.
That is the contest, which is the appellant.
Oh, I see.
People
don't understand the law.
It's so much of emotions out there rather than having facts. Unfortunately, included by some of our colleagues' lawyers. And very senior lawyers too.
But Lawan,
you see, when you are a maritime lawyer,
was here to say that, as a matter of fact, I didn't go to court. I didn't go to court. It's my party and loved ones.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Lawan did not go. He said, look, I give up. I'm not ready for this battle anymore. I give up. But the party said, no, we can't give up. It's our mandate. And the party went to court, and the court simply dismissed Machina's action as being incompetent.
Now, that was highly favorable. A lot of people understood, who didn't maybe understand the law, that was highly favorable to Lawan.
Lawan, if you listen to his acceptance speech, he said, if that is the wish of the party, I will accept. Is a party's mandate. That is not to say Lawan did not seek the nomination. You see, look, I will give you other instances because I've done quite a few.
You can explain this to me because don't forget that you're dealing with laymen essentially.
That is why we're on television.
Yes, that's why we're on television because we're laymen especially. Now, you've made the point that, well, Lawan, you said it's not true when we say Lawan didn't participate in a primary.
And the primary that produced Machina, with the party saying, it's not our primaries.
But Lawan wanted to be president.
Good.
He wanted to be president.
Again, that is a misconception.
Oh.
People look at, again, the electoral in section 31, 31 or 35, which says you cannot be nominated in two constituencies. What is a nomination? Nomination, electoral act, the party, not intra-party. And I stand to be corrected. No law, except maybe party guidelines, say so. But there's no law that says, I, Babatunde Ogala, cannot buy form for National House of Assembly, buy for President and Senate, and do a EOJ. There's no law. No, there's no law of the Federal Republic that says so. But it, however, says, again, I have done cases on this. It, however, says you cannot be nominated in two constituencies. The electoral law says so, and you stand disqualified. Nominated. When is the nomination said to have taken place? A nomination is said to have taken place when the party sends your name to INEC. So if a party now sends my name for Federal Constituency House of Reps and Senate Lagos West, be nominated in two constituencies. Or
but that principle doesn't work in Lawan's case.
The Act does not concern itself with primaries of the party. The party makes its own laws and its own guidelines. The only power INEC has is to observe and monitor their primaries. That is its only role.
Now you are, explaining the law
in this case, look, let me give you an instance. These are our same friends in PDP. Went to courts and said Shetima, because he was a senatorial candidate and had also been nominated as Ashiwaju's running mate. And they said in their originating summons, PDP, I did that matter. They are an associate to the one who has been nominated for that federal constituency called the presidency. Shetima had been nominated for Borno Central Senatorial. But unfortunately, unknown to them, they now claim that because he signed his nomination for presidency on the 14th, and he withdrew as senatorial candidate on the 15th, that within that 24-hour margin, he held two constituencies. Ridiculous as it were, but that is even, by the way, unknown to them, or they forgot, or they did not realize that the man had even withdrawn on the side. Shetima for Borno Central. The case was dismissed against the same PDP. I mean, they were so desperate using the court. So what I'm saying here is that is nomination in 2 constituencies. What is at issue here? That is why it is pre-election, is an intra-party matter of APC. And except the guidelines says so, except APC guidelines says so, and APC saying, we did not say you cannot. Akpabio was the same principle.
Okay. So
it was Akpabio. So there's a misconception. Yes, you might say, and as on the personal
it doesn't seem fair. Look, to the ordinary unlearned guy walking the streets,
but
it doesn't seem fair.
That is why I am saying the law itself cannot be fair to you if you do not do your work diligently.
Okay, there's a caller who has been now.
You cannot bring an action.
Yeah.
Maybe for the breach of your fundamental human rights. And you go and file it in the National Industrial Court or Securities and Exchange Tribunal and say it's not fair that the court threw you out.
So we go back to the matter of jurisdiction that you were talking about.
You must go through the proper means. That is where your lawyers. In fact, if there's anybody to blame, it's not the court. It's not the court. Because first you said your primaries was conducted by the State Executive Council. That is wrong. Then you now chose a wrong date as against the date fixed for APC primaries. That is also wrong. You now asked for a wrong prayer through a wrong process.
Highly technical aspects of the law. Now, Mr. George, good morning to you, sir, and thank you very much for holding on. Please go ahead now.
Up to this issue, the Senate President increased after this presidential primary Buhari. When he didn't win, he immediately started to canvass for the candidates that emerged. And these are my observations, so if I'm wrong, you can correct me. And when the issue of his own primary in his constituency came up, he accepted the judgment of the court, especially after the appeal court. He said he wasn't going to appeal again. And I've been watching him. He's been campaigning vigorously for the presidential candidate of his party. And I'm also aware that he wasn't for his party, based on what your guest has just explained to us now. For me, this is how it should be. If you are a party man, you should follow what the party says, irrespective of what your personal concern is about. That is what I have seen this man exhibit. From state to state, there is no state he has not gone with Asiwaju on this campaign. And I've been listening to what he has been saying. I've been watching his body language. This doesn't tell me that this was a man that actually wanted to scuttle the chances of his candidate. So I commend his sincerity and his sportsmanship. I wish other politicians would learn lessons from this. What I'm trying to point out is, ultimately unclear, is that what will be, will be. I think this man is destined to retain that seat, and that is what is playing out now.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Mr. George. I tell you what, we'll take a short break. We'll be right back, and we'll continue with this conversation with Babatunde Ogala, SAN, lawyer, politician, and administrator. We'll also include many more of your calls if they come. Stay with us, please.
This Sunday, the freedom of movement is a fundamental human right. But when the right is taken away, what happens? This is the story of survivors trafficked from Nigeria to Libya and other parts of the world. Senior correspondent Sharon Ejason exposes the routes and tricks used by traffickers to lure young girls and boys into perpetual slavery.
She told me that you do prostitution. I say prostitution. Even though I can't do prostitution in my country, is it a country I don't even know anything about? I told her I can't do that.
In this touching story, survivors of irregular migration share the gripping tales of how their dream of a bright future transformed into a dark world of fantasy.
Nigerian Embassy told me to go back to where I'm coming from.
It is an organized crime where perpetrators escape prosecution. The society keeps mute and the social media fool it to become a big business. Watch this investigative piece exposing the realities of human trafficking. That's on Sunday Specials, where great stories live. In the month of February, 4th of February is World Cancer Day. 6th of February is International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, while 11th of February is dedicated to women and girls in science. On the 12th of February, it's International Day against the use of child soldiers, also known as Red Hand Day. On the 20th, it's World Day of Social Justice. By the 24th, it will be 1 year since the Russia-Ukraine war broke out. Stay tuned to TVC News as we bring you in-depth reports and analysis on these events. At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
So, all in favor say aye. Those against no, the ayes have it.
What Parliament is here to bring it to you, as it is. Here to bring you every detail you need to know about the legislature in Africa's most populous city. On Lagos Parliament to get a chance to meet the lawmaker of the week. Events are critically reviewed. You can also observe plenary in Yoruba language. I am Abimbola Agbebi. Join me every Friday at 9 p.m. as I take you through the activities of the legislature.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to see if they're well informed, and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
It's not your regular show. It's an online interactive session where we share my views on the everyday issues that cut across politics, security, health, current affairs, governance, and so much more. I am passionate about our country. I choose to support any conversation geared towards building a better Nigeria. I am Babajide Kolaji Otitoju. Join me every Saturday on TVC News YouTube channel as I discuss Nigeria.
Okay, welcome back. My guest is Babatunde Ogala, SAN, lawyer, politician, and I said administrator, but remember, lawmaker as well. The man was in the Lagos State House of Assembly back in the day. That's been a few moons back.
2011.
That's right.
I left in 2011, some 12 years ago.
And stayed within the party and served it at various different levels. Here we are today. We're talking about this subject matter that might be arcane to some people, but I think you've shared a lot of them. We're trying to understand how important they are to the future of democracy, and that's what you've been doing in the first half of the program. If people talk about pre-election matters, I think a state like Rivers comes to mind, among others.
Yeah, you see, look, let me quickly address something.
Sure.
I've also heard this talk about the courts should not be electing governors for us.
I beg your pardon, I made a mistake. I should have said, and I apologize to you, Mr. Joshua in Irewolede. All that time we were on break, he was holding on because he wanted to contribute to the program. Good morning to you, Mr. Joshua in Irewolede.
Oguyori, thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to your guests.
Thank you.
I was prepared to wait today because it's been very challenging, and I understand. First, I commend and that we would appreciate as Nigeria. Leadership changes happened in the Senate that has not occurred. So I must commend him for being a Democrat. But I would say, if APC has your kind of lawyer, this very intelligent man, I'm wondering, why do they have this so much problem everywhere in this APC? You look at Zamfara, you look at this Bayelsa or so, you look at so many cases that APC is flawed on technical grounds. So looking at it, do they really have lawyers? Do they have S and all that? So this question for me, choose well. My support for Asiwaju is the fact that the man is very intelligent. He's a humanist. I think it is the first time Nigeria is going to have a president who can read figures, right? I mean, I'm just saying it in a way that will understand. An accountant reads figures and can interpret things. So I'm giving out myself to him on that ground, hoping that Nigeria can have a changed narrative. So to your guest, let him help us. APC, if they lose this election, they will lose it because APC is fighting APC. This is the first political party that I will see that are actively fighting themselves and doing everything to scuttle their own success. Buhari, good morning.
Good morning to you, Mr. Joshua. Let me bounce off Mr. Obi. That APC can actually be its own worst.
Worked that part before, and I, to to a large extent, agree with Joshua. Zamfara. It was APC versus APC. What was the issue in Joshua in Zamfara in 2019? Kabiru Marafa and his group were challenging the process of the APC. And their contention was APC did not hold valid primaries. The matter went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said, yes, it is true you did not hold primaries. And as such, you do not have candidates for the election. Notwithstanding that the election had been held, and APC had been declared winner. And the court said, so all the votes cast for APC were wasted. So it was APC's, that the Magnus Abe group, Umar challenged. And but the issue there was, while that was on, there was an injunction given by the High Court of the state saying, don't proceed with the primaries or the congresses to produce. But they went ahead with that. And when they get to the Supreme Court, said, tell to delegates that emerged while that injunction held, were the ones who voted in the primaries. And if there was a court order saying you should not have held that Congress or the delegates conference, and these are people, all those they elected go to no issue. Again, and the Supreme Court now ruled that APC had no candidates in Rivers, from Senate to the House of Assembly. Again, in turn-up time. And I must admit that. But this to guard against. We've learned some lessons from that. One thing I can tell Joshua, it is inevitable within the party. It is the right of everybody, right of anybody to contest, just as it is in APC. So it is ongoing across all parties. I know in Labour Party, there are even issues on the presidential nomination. That somebody else is contending that I'm the presidential candidate of the party. There are issues on who the authentic chairman of the party is.
So
we don't even have those
This
issues.
is standard politics, and
standard
people should
politics.
be prepared for it. Okay,
I mean,
another person has been... I beg your pardon.
So it is
another person
normal and standard.
Okay.
But like I said, I will thank you for the advice, and I'm sure the party this time around is taking action and is guarding against such happening.
Okay.
But that there will be litigation, there will be wranglings, it's inevitable. Church, and my dear movement, Olufosoye and Church of Methodist Church, they are all about leadership positions across board.
Mazi Okorafor, I want to thank you very much, sir, for holding on all that while. But, you know, these are intricate matters, and I wanted him to learn. So sorry about keeping you waiting. Go ahead, Mazi Okorafor, calling in from Arochukwu.
Good morning, the Honorable Barrister. Now, I want us to look at this issue of this litigation as you already put on the screen here. Now, our judges from Supreme Court to the Magistrate Court and our case will be lingering for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. Now, every year, to recruit SAN, SAN, the list, you just answer this. What are we signing? Is it not the sense of time when we start sit down and they bring their knowledge together immediately? But why is it in the Democrat way? The judicial are going to do was to derail our democracy.
Okay.
I repeat, they are going to derail our democracy. Whether we like it or not.
Okay, Mazi, I beg your pardon. Thank you very much, Mazi. Let's take it from there. Thank you very much, Mazi.
Let me quickly address this. And I think the judiciary has no blame. In the Kenya matter, whether it took 1 year, 2 weeks, or 1 year, we have to look at the issues that were determined and what are the prescriptions of their law. What is the system of government they operate? So it's not one size fits all. Our Supreme Court, our courts in Nigeria, have not, till date, gone outside what the laws prescribe. The courts are not the lawmakers. The law says pre-election litigation, election petitions must be concluded within 180 days. The courts have complied with that. It says appeals to Court of Appeals, 60 days. The courts have complied with that. It says appeals from the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court must be concluded within 60 days. Supreme Court has not failed. So the courts have not failed. And the courts don't make the laws. If the Kenyan law says 2 weeks, that is Kenyan law. So if we feel strongly that the 180 days prescribed for the High Court is too much, let us amend the laws to say 30 days. If we say for the Court of Appeal you should conclude in 15 days, amend the laws. So what these courts have done is to act in consonance with the law. So talking about the courts, and we've talked about some people have written some articles where they were even scattering remarks and insults on the courts, including, unfortunately, by some lawyers. That the courts are determining candidates, they will cite some states and what have you. The courts cannot but do so. And the courts do not determine your candidate. The laws are clear that in determination of electoral issues, these are the steps, this is what you must comply with. The issues that come to courts in Bayelsa is qualification of the deputy governorship candidate. It was brought by one of the parties, PDP precisely. And the court found that there has been no compliance with the law.
Okay.
And let me also say
someone else on the line.
The electoral process, elections, are creations of law.
Yeah, okay.
So if you do not comply with the law, the court only interpret the laws.
Let me bring in Dr. Ejiwumi, who has been holding on for a bit. No problem. Please, I hope you understand all of this, because these are technical matters, and so I have to give the learned senior, advocate time to explain these matters to us. Please go ahead, Dr. Ejiwumi.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
We appreciate this program. I want to thank our son, Ogala, for his contribution so far. My question is to our son. In the situation where we have a 3-man tribunal, and we have minority judgment, we have majority judgment, is it necessary for the judge that supports the judgment to read his own judgment? Please, I need clarification on that, and I believe that you can enlighten us on it.
You got him?
I got him.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr.
I know
Ejiwumi.
he's trying to refer to Oshun. That is where he's coming from, and not surprisingly, he called from Ile-Ife by saying he caught a judge who agrees with a judgment. He doesn't necessarily have to read any judgment. Even in the Supreme Court, once a judgment is written, the way the tribunal system or a court consisting of panels, especially at the appellate courts, when matters are determined before them, after determination, all issues have been settled. They go into a conference. And when they go into a conference, they discuss what they've heard and what they have read and what has been canvassed before them and take a position. If the position is common, they all agree, it's okay, Mr. Sholani or Mr. What was his own name now? Mr. Joshua.
Dr.
Ejimumi. Dr. Ejimumi, you write the judgment.
But
and with the rest of
it's
us,
a collective.
It's like when you have a committee, you work in a committee, there's a report, and the rest of you sign it.
Okay.
So in the Supreme Court, which is the highest judicial body in the land, if a judgment is written, the rest can just say, I concur. They need not say more. I've listened to the judgment written by my brother. I concur.
Okay.
2 words, please.
Yeah.
I concur.
There's something else I wanted to talk about.
So that is it.
We're going to have to leave that there.
The fact that the second judge jointly co-signed after concurring, it does not vitiate the judgment in Osun. So let us leave over this. It's unfortunate some people play on the emotions of people and try to play on their knowledge.
Okay.
And play on their minds and misrepresent. There's absolutely nothing wrong
I do beg your
with the
pardon.
judgment.
We're fast running out of
the majority judgment of Osun.
Today we're fast running out of time, and this time we've done so much about the law, and fittingly so. I mean, you're a specialist, and we've milked as much as we can within the time frame. But now I want to turn to the other aspect of you, because you are an APC chieftain, and one topic that has come up in the past 2 days or so, talking about the Labour Party rally. There seems to have been, in Lagos, seems to have been so much that has been said about that. There have been statements and counter-statements. The people of Lagos, some of them seem to be taking offense. Give me an overview, in brief, of how you see what's going on from both sides.
I've also read a lot about what transpired over the weekend. First, it was said that Labour Party supporters were being attacked by hoodlums. When I read that in the social media where I read it, my position is make a formal report to the police and let investigation. Some said, oh, they are breaking vehicles down the road so we cannot pass. Very, very, very ridiculous to hear that we'll go and break down for Ikorodu Road. So a Labour cannot pass as if Labour is the only one that uses the road. For every minute on busy roads in Lagos, you have over 5,000 cars coming in, going. So, but that is by the way. There have also been the talk of the Labour Party candidate not paying homage to the traditional institutions in Lagos and going straight from the airport to Alaba Market, then to Relay Market, then came to Computer Village, which some have interpreted to mean, oh, they are people of an ethnic stock that is trying to whip up ethnic sentiments. Yes, they may be right, because I thought he could have also done it differently. It's also quite unfortunate that we saw some video clips where somebody was challenging, let them see Oluomo come out. We are ready for him. We own Nigeria. All those are absolutely unnecessary. Peter Obi had come out to explain that a source told them that the Oba was not willing to address them. A source. I take that with a pinch.
Well, was that Peter Obi or a purported director of the I'm talking about the former...
Akin Oshitoku.
No,
I think Oshitoku's Oshu, he had denied that he issued any statement. But there was one that Peter Obi himself now is reported to have said that a source told them. I know the Oba of Lagos, even when he's not available. His white cap chiefs will be there to receive them. It's an oversight. If I were them, I would just apologize for it. No law, no rule says you must visit them, but it has become cultural with all of
a tradition.
The tradition that when you get to a place, you go first, just go and pay homage to the traditional rulers. And in some instances, when if the president lands in a state, even opposition states, the governors receive him at the airport. We saw Tambuwal. He displayed, he's a gentleman and the perfect thing to do. There is a president of the country that has come in, I must receive him. He doesn't have to go to his rally. And he did that, and that is just the right thing for Tambuwal, for which I commend him. Well, he's a lawyer, so he should know better. So I commend him for that. So I think at this point, our appeal will be to our brothers and our friends. I am an APC member. So, but again, I'm not saying we're also perfect in APC and we don't have unruly behaviors and supporters, and sometimes overexcited supporters, especially the young people. Like these acts of provocation are unnecessary. Things that tend to build ethnic tension. Like the young man that went, when Peter Obi visited Computer Village. Computer Village is in the heart of Ikeja. I mean, and the understanding of people is visiting Igbo markets. He could also have stopped by in Oyinbo. He could have stopped by in Ikpodo. There are several markets out there that you do a balance. But for a young man to wear Peter Obi and in front of Peter Obi's car saying, MC Oluomo should come out. This belongs to us. We are here. Hi, hey.
Maybe overexcited followers.
Overexcited.
You know,
From that point where he was saying that in the midst of that market is also in the heart of Ikeja. Across the road is Ikpodo market. And we know what Ikpodo will be said to be notorious for. It just takes one young idiot. Okay. I mean, look, I'll say this with all. We're going to have to. You see, if you remember during the NSAS riots, when some members wanted to attack Computer Village, and this, I know this as a fact. We, the local government chairman in Ikeja, and Yorubas, had a duty to make sure they protected those spaces. When there was that broadcast purported by Nnamdi Kanu, directing them to burn this, burn that, they had burned the High Court, burnt City Hall, burnt the Lagos Forensic Laboratory, burnt our Lagos Theatre here in Ikeja,
We've got to go.
So,
Thank you very much for the comment.
There is need for caution. There is need for us to be less militant.
Okay then. Babatunde Ogala, SAN, former lawmaker in the Lagos State House of Assembly, politician and chieftain of APC. Thank you very much for coming on.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, so that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Polari. Bye-bye for now.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today.
When shippers groan under the weight of ceaseless charges that tend to throw them off balance in the sector, Nigerian Shippers Council promptly comes to their rescue.
We know that we are achieving something.
Today, you now have a regulator.
To get justice done without the money for any charges.
It's Tidbit, the world's biggest container ship and the first to break the 24,000 TEU mark.
Allah Inland Drive port is born again. Finally, the eagle has landed.
It is initiatives like this that we want to encourage.
Join us for a smooth sail on your favorite maritime program, The Shipper, brought to you by Nigerian Shippers Council, Nigeria's port economic regulator.
Your favorite agricultural variety show, Farm and Fortune, is finally back. Season 3 of OCP Farm and Fortune is bigger, bolder, more enlightening, and funnier than ever before.
Isn't it one big happy family? The more we are together. That's all.
With all the knowledge that you've been missing.
When you practice diversified agriculture from the beginning, even if you lose one crop, you still have many other crops on the ground.
More experts and more prizes to be won. It kicks off on TVC News every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Stay tuned.
Shazam Mayo as I bring you news from the epicenter, where it happens and when it happens, staying on top of every breaking story, minute by minute, right at the hour when the city gets busy and just before it sleeps. We're live from every angle with objective insight and analysis. TVC News, first with breaking news.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Keep up with innovative, revealing, and groundbreaking happenings in the world of brands and brand builders in Nigeria and across the globe. Mingle with people and brands that make the cut and the personalities that keep reinventing the trends and traditions in the marketing world. All are exciting one-stop shop for marketing buffs. Marketing Edge on TV. You're always right on time with the right people and movers and shakers of the world of marketing as they share their views and ideas on the business and challenges of advertising, corporate affairs, media strategy, and the unfolding exciting world of digital marketing. Join the trendsetters and key decision makers as they shape opinions and project into the future of the marketing landscape for 30 exhilarating minutes on this channel. Stay ahead, be thrilled to beat, be marketing savvy with Marketing Edge on TV. Marketing Edge on
And welcome to TVC Media News. We begin in Zamfara State, where the State Anti-Thuggery Committee has threatened to shut down filling stations and other business premises who refuse to accept the old Naira notes. Commander of the committee, Bello Bakiyaswa, issued the warning when he visited some filling stations, grain markets, and other places in Gusau, the state's capital. He said government is monitoring the situation, which the threat is coming barely 48 hours after Governor Bello Matawale ordered the arrest of anyone who rejects the old 200, 500, and 1,000 Naira notes in the state.
We are here to enforce the directive by the Zamfara State Governor, Bello Matawale, that he categorically stated clearly that anybody rejected the old Naira note, that is the 200 Naira, 500 Naira, 1,000 Naira note, should be arrested. So we are here to confirm to ourselves that are they really rejecting the money or not? And thank God they have complied with the directive of the Zamfara State Governor.
Now to political matters, the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, has promised to bring prosperity to Gombe State and make it one of the richest in the country if elected. Asiwaju Tinubu made the promise in Gombe State during the APC presidential campaign rally. Ola Wakon tells us more.
The APC presidential candidate and his campaign team landed in Gombe State for the party's campaign rally. Gombe State Governor and other party executives were at the airport to receive Asiwaju Tinubu. As they moved across major roads to the palace of the Emir of Gombe, party supporters waved at the convoy. At the palace, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu made his intention known and promised to work with the state government to make Gombe better than it is.
Nigeria, in your hands, will be better placed and will grow better and stronger.
Face it here today. The cooperation of the people of Gombe.
You have distinguished yourself as a cordial administrator of the Lagos governor and opposition leader. Your role as a political mentor and integrator of leaders will continue to serve as inspiration to the new generation as kind leaders and politicians.
The campaign entourage